When I talk to people about guns and gun owner rights, something I often hear is, well, I'm not against the Second Amendment, and I'm not against people owning guns. I just don't understand why you need magazines that hold 30 rounds. Well, it seems kind of reasonable when you first say it, and people generally want to appear reasonable. They don't want to be seen as a fanatic or some kind of extremist, so they take this position and say, well, you don't need 30 rounds, do you? And the answer is, I don't know. I probably don't need 30 rounds, but however many rounds I do need in an emergency situation, I want to make sure I have enough. Now, first off, we need to acknowledge that the Second Amendment is not about deer hunting. When Andrew Cuomo stands up and says, it doesn't take 10 bullets to kill a deer, he's being so incredibly dishonest and self-serving that I hope he pays a political price and is never elected to another position in his life. The Second Amendment is not about hunting deer. If you go back and look at the history and look at the debates that took place with regards to the 10 Amendments to the Bill of Rights and the Second Amendment in particular, read the Federalist Papers and the other documents similar to that, you'll see that the Second Amendment was about three things. It was about the right of the individual to protect themselves. One, against bad guys around, thieves and murderers. They had those types of people back then too, and we certainly have them now. And the Supreme Court recently upheld that notion that, hey, this is about a person's personal right to keep and bear arms to protect them and their family. But it was also about something a little bit bigger. It was about the individuals and the collective individuals, the citizens of this new country, to protect ourselves against foreign invaders, should that ever happen, and also to protect ourselves against a tyrannical and oppressive government of our own, should that day ever arrive. To act as kind of a check on our own government from growing a little bit too big and a little bit too powerful. You look at the debates between the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists as to whether or not it was a good idea to have a standing army under federal control, and there was real debate about it back then. And the Second Amendment is what we ended up with. So when you look at it in that context, and you ask yourselves, well, is a 30-round magazine really necessary for an individual? I have people in my life that feel that no, it's really not. But when you start asking them questions about themselves and their family, if somebody comes through your door, one or two or three people break in your front door and come into your house, it happens all the time. Look, I'm a criminal defense attorney. This stuff does happen. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. And if somebody comes through your door and they're intent on killing you and raping your wife and raping your daughter, do you want a gun at that point? Now, some people will say no. I think it's kind of foolish, but if they say so because they really believe in nonviolence and they're willing to put their life on the line for their beliefs, I admire their courage for that. I don't think they're crazy. I don't think they're kooky. I don't think they're stupid. But a lot of us are going to say, yes, in that situation, I want a gun. Okay, the next question is, how many bullets do you want? At that point, you say, is 5 bullets enough? In New York, like here, where they just passed this law saying no more than 7 bullets, is that enough? Well, yeah, there's only 3 of them. Well, you know something? It's not like the movies. If you think somebody's going to come through your front door and you're going to go bang, bang, bang and kill 3 people with 3 shots that are going to fall over dead, it doesn't happen that way. Okay, you might need a lot of bullets. And the last thing you really want is to run out when the job's not done. Hopefully, they get scared and run away. Or they get injured and they stop. Or, heaven forbid, you have to kill somebody to protect you and your family. But at that point, when the rubber's hitting the road, so to speak, you may not need 30 bullets. You may not need 10 bullets. But, when you look at these Glocks, these handguns, they have 15-round magazines. A lot of police officers know that I know have them. They're now illegal in New York. But I bet you they're loading them with all 15, because if somebody comes through their door, they want to make sure they have enough bullets. And when you look at it like that, then it's not so unreasonable to have a larger magazine. And, the flip side of the equation is this. These new restriction that everybody's going for, is it really going to do any good to limit magazine sizes to 7 rounds or 10 rounds? I submit in a large picture, it's really not. Okay, every now and then we have these mass shootings. They're terrible, they're horrible, but you know something? Limiting magazine sizes isn't going to stop them. A friend of mine, as soon as the Sandy Hook tragedies occurred, he went on Facebook and he's talking about we need to change the gun culture in this country. Well, you know what? I know for a fact he is a huge fan of the TV show The Walking Dead. If you've never seen it, it's one of those zombie shows, and the people that are survivors, the humans, are shooting zombies left and right. Even though they look like people, they're really not people anymore. They're zombies now. So it's okay to blow them away at will. And to think that that type of show is not desensitizing towards somebody who is already mentally out there and inclined to commit acts of violence is illogical. It's not the fact that there are big magazines out there that hold 30 rounds that might be a big part of the problem. It's the fact that you have these crazy people getting so desensitized by what they see on TV that going into a school and blowing away kids is not a big deal to them. You know, so it's a little more complicated than simply saying we need to limit the number of rounds in guns. So that's it for now. There's a lot more to talk about this. I'm sure I will. But until next time, thank you for listening. And next time, SasquatchCamp.com. Thank you.